Good morning, lovely folks, and welcome to lesson 194. I place my future in the hands of God, or I place my future in the hands of love. This is one of the first talks I heard Marianne Williamson ever giving. I'm sure you've come across Marianne Williamson, one of the most profound teachers of A Course in Miracles. And I heard her speaking about this, and it really helped me to learn how to surrender and to hand over my day to the will and the care of God as I understand God. And so I look forward to sharing this lesson with you. But first, let's take a moment and allow ourselves to land fully and just even make that statement to yourself: I am here now, present. I am here now, present. Allow yourself to settle your sit bones, to gently relax your shoulders. Breathe into your heart center. And gently blowing your out breath outwards. Next out breath, let it come with a sigh. As we begin this day in gratitude, we open our hearts and we surrender to love. We ask that love lead the way through the minutes and the hours of this new day. We welcome joy, fun, and abundant prosperity. We recognize that all encounters are wholesome and that all experiences can be met with a peaceful heart that is anchored in the truth that we are one, that we are love, and that we are free. And so we release these words and we let it be. Okay. So I place the future in the hands of God. Today's idea takes another step towards quick salvation, and a giant stride it is indeed. So great is the distance that it encompasses that it sets you down just short of heaven, with the goal in sight and the obstacles behind. I love that, because you know, this idea of all obstacles being behind you, everything now that was in the way of you knowing the love that you are and of moving into this place of trust is behind you, and your goal is right in front of you. Your foot has reached the lawns that welcome you to heaven's gate, the quiet place of peace where you wait with certainty the final step of God or of love. How far are we progressing now from earth? How close are we approaching to our goal? How short the journey still to be pursued? Accept today's idea and you have passed all anxiety, all pits of hell, all blackness of depression, thoughts of sin, and devastation brought about by guilt. Accept today's idea and you have released the world from all imprisonment by loosening the heavy chains that lock the door to freedom on it. You are saved, and your salvation thus becomes the gift you give the world because you have received. In no one instant is depression felt or pain experienced or loss perceived. In no one instant can sorrow be set upon a throne and worshipped faithfully. In no one instant can one even die. And so each instant given unto God in passing, with the next one given God already, is a time of your release from sadness, pain, and even death itself. So we're literally being asked to hand everything over to God, everything over to Source, not to try and figure out anything ourselves, not to try and understand anything, make sense of anything. Anything that's causing us any discomfort or pain, any attachment to the world, any belief, we surrender it all and we completely place our future. We don't try to manage anything. We don't try to control anything anymore. We literally lean into love that always leads us to where we need to go next. God holds your future as God holds your past and present. They are one to God, and so they should be one to you. Yet in this world, the temporal progression still seems real. And so you are not asked to understand the lack of sequence really found in time. Because remember, time is man-made. You're only asked to let the future go and place it in the hands of God. And you will see by your experience that you have laid the past and present in God's hands as well, because the past will punish you no more. The future dread will now be meaningless. And we're all familiar with that feeling of future dread, or of wanting to know every micro detail. I know recently I've been trying to get in touch with somebody who I'm planning an event with, and I haven't been able to get in touch with them. And it's interesting because the event is in relation to Mary Magdalene. And they say that Mary Magdalene left Egypt in a boat with no oars and asked God to take her where she needed to be next. That's how trusting she was. That's how she placed her future in the hands of God. And she ended up on the shores of France. And so it's interesting that I'm in this position where I know I need to just trust and lean into love and know that everything is working out perfectly. But the ego mind wants to figure out every single detail. So we're asked to release the future, for the past is gone, and what is present, freed from its legacy of grief and misery, of pain and loss, becomes the instant in which time escapes the bondage of illusions, where it runs its pitiless, inevitable course. Then is each instant which was a slave to time transformed into a holy instant, when the light that was kept hidden in God's child is free to bless the world. Now is it free, and all its glory shines upon a world made free with it to share its holiness. Another thing the Course tells us is that a healed mind doesn't plan. We've spoken a little bit about this before. So that doesn't mean that, you can't book a holiday, or you can't say you're going to go to Dublin next week to meet your brother or whatever. But what it does mean is that you don't have to live in the energy of your plans, and that you stay in constant communication with your source, knowing where should you go and what should you do. And that if plans change, you know that that is God's will and it is for your higher good once you have surrendered them. So you're surrendering all the future, even the plans that you have put in place. So sometimes in hindsight, we see that things actually worked out way better than we thought they ever could, particularly when things get changed. It could be something like you lose a job and you could be devastated and then realize the reason why you lost it was because there was something way, way better there waiting for you. So when you trust in God and things go differently than you had planned, then there's no devastation, there's no stress. There's just literally that matter of fact thing where you go, oh, it's okay. There must be something better. So if you can see the lesson for today as the deliverance it really is, you will not hesitate to give as much consistent effort as you can to make it be a part of you. As it becomes a thought that rules your mind, a habit in your problem-solving repertoire, a way of quick reaction to temptation, you extend your learning to the world. And as you learn to see salvation in all things, so will the world perceive that it is saved. What worry can assail the one who gives their future to the loving hands of God? Like when you really think about it, what would you worry about if you really believed, if you really handed over, if you handed over and didn't take it back? Like, what could you worry about? What can they suffer? What can cause them pain or bring experience of loss to them? What can they fear? What can they regard except with love? For those who have escaped all fear of future pain have found their way to present peace and certainty of care the world can never threaten. They are sure that their perception may be faulty, but will never lack correction. So if we, know that we may have false perception of things, once we've handed our future over to the hands of God, then we know that we'll never lack correction, that if anything needs to shift or change, then the Holy Spirit is going to shift and change it. They are free to choose again when they have been deceived, to change their mind when they have made mistakes. So you can see that this lends itself to such freedom, to being able to move through the world with such lightness and such ease and such grace. And, Holy Spirit is saying to me that you can literally shrug your shoulders and go, well, when things don't happen just the way you think they ought to, because you've placed your future in the hands of God, whatever other ideas you have. And so when anything changes, it's just a matter of shrugging your shoulders and going, well. And, if you have a bigger or greater response than that, you just notice that. And then you proceed to place your future in the hands of God. So place then your future in the hands of God, for thus you call the memory of God to come, replacing all your thoughts of sin and evil with the truth of love. And again, for me, evil, I always change that into live backwards. So not living fully. All your thoughts of things not being right, when we're not living wholly and fully, things are not quite right. Do you think the world could fail to gain thereby, and every living creature not respond with healed perception? Who entrusts themselves to God has also placed the world within the hands to which they themselves appealed for comfort and security. They lay aside the sick illusions of the world along with theirs and offer peace to both. So it's a complete surrender. It's a complete laying down of all your arms, of all your plans, of all your ideas, of all your false beliefs about yourself. You're letting everything go, placing everything into the hands of love. Now are we saved indeed, for in God's hands we rest untroubled, sure that only good can come to us. If we forget, we will be gently reassured. If we accept an unforgiving thought, it will be soon replaced by love's reflection. And if we are tempted to attack, we will appeal to our internal teacher, the Holy Spirit, who guards our rest, to make the choice for us and leaves temptation far behind. No longer is the world our enemy, for we have chosen that we be its friend. So I don't know about you, but I glean so much peace from this lesson. And in my experience, anytime I hand things over and I roll with it, I just allow things to happen and fall into place, then my mind becomes much more relaxed. My body becomes much more relaxed, and things happen with ease and with grace. And, I have to say, I no longer get fired up when things don't go right. And it was interesting for me to watch myself in this recent thing where communication wasn't happening. And it was almost like I could see this frustration beginning to be played out. And at the same time, I was going, you've got to trust. It's all happening perfectly. Everything is happening in divine order. And I'm so grateful for that voice that comes in and reminds me to stop, to trust, to get still, to judge not, and ask what's mine to do. And when you do place your future in the hands of God, that's the way you're going to begin to behave. You're just going to stop judging things. You're going to get still with things, and you're going to open up conversation with God, with the divine within yourself, asking, is there anything I need to do right now? Is there anything I need to know right now? Is there any plan I need to put in place right now? And then you just listen. So have fun practicing the lesson. But what I'd like to do now is just repeat it a few times in a quiet meditation. I place my future in the hands of God or of love or source or whatever word you would like to put there. My divine can be a nice one as well. Okay, so let's gently close our eyes down once more. And just begin to repeat, I place my future. And you can finish the sentence yourself, in the hands of. When you're ready, gently opening your eyes. And, with a lesson like this, like, practice really does make perfect. So every morning I would suggest that you practice, handing your future over. And in a way we do it, in the prayer we do, but you can very purposely say, okay, I'm handing my future now over to the hands of God. Have a great day.